Hello my friends, today I want to show you something truly magical. Ta-da! Voodoo magic, of course. Yes, this is a 3DFX graphics card, the legendary Voodoo2, the card that nerds drool over and one that scalpers would kill for. I'm telling you, these cards are teeming with dark magic. But was Voodoo2 really that good? And more importantly, is it good now for you to play those classic and great games from the late 90s? Let's start with the beginning, and although Voodoo2 was not the beginning, it is the successor of what started it all, namely the first Voodoo video card from 3DFX. This happened in 1996-1997, but in 1998, about a year later, the gentleman from 3DFX released this video card, the worthy successor of Voodoo, Voodoo2. Well, the specs are as follows, and as you can see, Voodoo2 has 4 million transistors instead of 1 million for the Voodoo 1, 90 MHz GPU frequency and memory compared to 50 MHz, 192-bit memory bus for a total bandwidth of 2.1 GB per second, and support for DirectX 6. The card that I have is the Diamond Monster 3D 2. It looks absolutely gorgeous and pristine. It's like being fresh out of the oven. I want to thank the one that gave me this card for free. I'll leave his YouTube channel in the description. He has some very well made and interesting videos. You have probably seen this weird connector right here. The top one is VGA, the bottom one exists because Voodoo2 doesn't know how to display 2D signal. So alongside the Voodoo you need another video card that knows 2D. Voodoo2 goes into one of the PCI ports, the other video card into the AGP port, and then you have this cable that joins the two cards. And so 2D images are processed by the S3 AGP card and the Voodoo card takes care of the 3D stuff. Disclaimer, I've never had a Voodoo card before, I don't know much about them and I didn't do too much research. But let's see what comes out and we'll learn along the way. I have here a Pentium II computer clocked at 300 MHz, 128 MB of RAM and the wonderful S3 303D video card launched in 1997 with 4 MB of video memory. Okay, video card is a loose term here, it knows how to display 2D signal. This card probably came with some of the computers you bought back then. And gaming on such a computer looked like this in 1998. Colin McRae was released in that year, and as you can see I have here the original experience. CRT with flickerings and 35 FPS, pretty good I would say, and it doesn't look bad either, at least from the distance, because if we get a little closer, 1998 indeed, 20 pixels on the screen. Besides that, I used the wonderful resolution of 320 by 240 and the low settings. The game looks bad on the recording, but I invite you once again to see how good a CRT can be. Although I have an extremely low resolution, the game looks decent on the CRT. It's not that pixelated. I'm using 320 by 240 because that's what this S3 video card can do. If we switch to the Voodoo2, the situation changes. We can use up to 800 by 600, the maximum resolution that the Voodoo2 supports. Now this is something else. I'm using 640 by 480 high settings and the game moves and looks really good. I mean, the differences are as clear as daylight, especially if we look at the sky, the mountains, and the car. The classic Need for Speed 3 can be played in software mode. That is, the game is rendered by the CPU, as you can see here, and the Pentium II doesn't do a bad job, not at all. It looks pretty good. We also have some special effects on the car, it has some reflections, gorgeous. All fine and dandy, but the game can also be run with Direct3D, and for this we will turn again to the humble S3 video card. The game is less pixelated, but the car looks worse because I used low settings, otherwise the performance would have been very bad. Somehow Need for Speed 3 looks and moves better in software mode, compared to using the video card, yikes. Now if we move on to Voodoo2 and Glide, the differences are huge, both visually and in terms of performance. Visually I don't even need to show you stuff, you can see it with the naked eye, as well as the performance. Although for Voodoo2 I used 800 by 600 high settings, and for the S3 640 by 480 low settings, what we have on the right is much smoother. And yet the capture card doesn't do justice to how well Need for Speed 3 looks on a Voodoo card. Yes, even on an LCD, because although I'm using 800x600, which is not at all the native resolution of this display, its native resolution being 1600x1200, and because 800x600 is exactly half of that, the pixels fit much better and thus the game looks very good. We don't have pixels that melt into each other. I'm using the big zoom to see how it looks. Wonderful.
I think that you're just an old, obsolete and nerdy fanboy who can never have an objective point of view.
My friend, please let me be. Go to the Mesozoic era where you came from and leave me alone. Go hunt some deers or whatever you ate back then. And not to be misunderstood, I'm not comparing the S3 video card with the Voodoo 2 to see which one is better. I just want to show how it would have been in 1998, upgrading from the S3 to the Voodoo 2. Test Drive 5 is another game released in 1998, and yes, I leave it up to you to draw the conclusions. Let's move on. And because I can, I'm trying to run Half-Life on the S3 video card. And no, it's not a problem with the footage. That's exactly how the game looks. Now, I wouldn't mind such a visual style, but there's no visual style here, it's just missing textures. Besides that, the game runs at 4 FPS. On the Voodoo 2, the game looks and feels way better, I would say. I'm using the 3DFX mini driver for OpenGL. I don't know exactly what this is, but it's going well, so it's okay. In Unreal Tournament, Voodoo 2 is starting to struggle. At 800x600 high settings, I've encountered quite a few freezes. Probably the video card memory is not enough. Otherwise the FPS seems okay, and it probably sits somewhere between 30 and 40. I switched to 640x480 low settings, and although the textures are a bit low quality now, at least the game moves very smoothly. I should have had some sound from the game, but unfortunately the captured sound sounds like this. All well and good, but the main reason why I wanted a Voodoo video card is so that I can finally, after 20 years, play Diablo 2 using 3DFX Glide video mode. I've played Diablo 2 in all possible ways, scenarios and everything, but I've never played it with Glide, unless it was by using some patches, but I'm talking about the original Voodoo experience here. The game usually runs very well in direct draw mode, and it looks something like this. Nothing too fancy, the engine is limited to 25 FPS and we're reaching that maximum, so everything is fine. If we use the Voodoo card, the game looks something like this. The colors are a little more vibrant and full. The lighting seems more complex, which is good. But the textures, my friend, what is this? It's like I've applied 5% Gaussian blur in Photoshop. That's how it looks with direct draw. And that's how it looks with Glide. I don't like it, it's too blurry. Could there be a problem somewhere with the drivers or something? Look at the Paladin's aura, it's much more visible on direct draw. It is what it is. Now, I have two video cards in my computer, and it seems that if you connect two monitors, one for each video card, depending on what you do, the signal will be displayed only by one of them. For example, Need for Speed 3 runs now from the Voodoo card with Glide, and so the game is displayed on the right monitor, which is connected to the Voodoo card. If Need for Speed 3 is rendered by the S3 video card, first of all it runs very bad, and secondly it appears on the left monitor. This is very interesting and I could do some things in the future with this. We'll see. So after this brand new experience, I have only two things to say. One, the video card has great potential. What I did here is more of a surface level testing. I have another Voodoo 2 card, so SLI incoming. Because yes, you can do SLI with Voodoo 2. 6 years before Nvidia introduced this technology. This card deserves a faster CPU. And other games, I would say. And two, I was somehow prepared to have all kind of problems making this video. And I was ready to troll the card just a little bit. But no, I was pleasantly surprised and I'm very excited about what to do next with these cards. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, use Voodoo cards if you have one, have fun and be nostalgic.